Welcome to the Storylabs Marketing Podcast. In this season, we explore how marketers use AI to get better results for less money. Over next weeks, we interview marketers who show us an AI-based marketing process that they actually use daily. In previous episodes, we've learned how to develop a marketing plan, how to write a buyer persona, or how to develop a course outline for your online webinar. Today, we have again a work in progress. We will get a sneak preview of a prompt sequence that helps write LinkedIn posts. Writing for LinkedIn is something that a lot of people want to do, yet doing this effectively is still hard for most. How can ChatGPT help simplify this? Well, obviously it can help with generating ideas, and that is what a lot of people do, but the truly hard thing that ChatGPT struggles with is hitting the right tonality that feels natural and that sounds like me, you, anybody. So our guest today, Heather Murray, owns the marketing agency Beasting Digital. She works with companies on the development of their content, and she is a heavy user of AI. So no surprise that she's now working on a prompt sequence that makes ChatGPT write in your tone and voice and do that for LinkedIn. So pretty cool stuff. I'm very excited to hear what she has to say because I'm a heavy LinkedIn user myself. And I've been striving to get ChatGPT to write in my own tonality. So now let's listen to Heather. And welcome back to the Storylabs Marketing Podcast. Today with a guest that I have met on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn Works, Heather Murray. And Heather runs an agency, a marketing agency specializing on AI. And I'm very keen to hear what Heather is going to share today with us. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you very much, Simon. Really pleased to be here.
So let's start by you giving us a little idea of what you do with your agency and sort of like what the focus is of your work. And then let's take a deep dive into the prompt sequence that you've prepared for today.
Yes, of course. Yeah, so I'm director at Beasting Digital. So we do future-proof funnels and lead generation. So bit of demand generation, bit of lead generation. So we help build sales and marketing funnels that are really enriched with AI and automation. So really nice and efficient. And then we help people hyper-personalize, again, using AI for high-ticket lead generation as well. So kind of two products. And then separately to the business, I've got my own personal thing. So I do a lot of consultancy, training, speaking, keynotes, that sort of thing around the topic of AI, which is something I'm absolutely addicted to. So really pleased to have any opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, we love AI.
But love it.
Yeah. So what is the workflow or the process that you want to share today? What does that workflow solve?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things that people find when they use AI is that it doesn't sound like them. It sounds fluffy, it sounds boring, and you cannot create content, or people find it really, really difficult for it to create content that sounds like them and in their own tone of voice. And I think a lot of the copywriting programs give you 5 options. Would you like professional or serious or quirky or witty? And they are so limited and so generic. Every single one of those, they haven't got any life or vibrancy to them. That we're just going to end up with, every single piece of content generated is going to sound like one of 5 voices. Those that even do like copy.ai, Jasper, that do allow you to add a little bit in, they really limit you to 500 words, which again is not enough for a really in-depth tone of voice. Yeah, I think that's the big problem that I encountered, was just not being able to generate anything in my own voice at first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can second that the frustration is that you feel like it's sort of a tinny text that sort of doesn't have your voice, and then I think I've gotten pretty good at sort of like picking up on AI written text. There's sort of like a certain vocabulary or sentence structure. There's something about it. It's like, this is not written by a human. It's so
there's two things: perplexity and burstiness. They're two very human things. So burstiness, for those who don't know, is humans speak in this but a high burstiness. So they will do one word sentences, then 2 words, and then 5, and then 4. And it's got this different sort of varying timbre to it. Perplexity is kind of which word are you going to pick next. So burstiness is kind of where how's the structure of the sentence going to look, and perplexity is how random is the next words that you're going to pick. AI really can't replicate that well unless you give it a structure, and we don't operate in this structured way. I also think that it doesn't understand what the word quirky means. So it's something a lot of people like to think, I write in a really quirky way. It gives the exact same response every time, which is, okay, that means loads of emojis, loads of exclamation marks, loads of really high-pitched kind of sounding sentences. It's just awful. And it just can't get a copy with personality. It just can't get it easily. Yeah, real problem.
What are good fields for AI to work with as a tool, and what are fields where we need a lot of preparatory work to get it to work?
I think AI, I think, is absolutely amazing at research, ideation, editing, analysis, data analysis, code interpreter. I think is absolutely brilliant, particularly for the big. I'm sure expert data analysts will be thinking, it's very limited. But for me, I'm all about democratizing AI. I think being able to analyze a spreadsheet that I've got, that I can pull off and go, wow, I can ask it questions, incredible. So all the prep for content creation, absolutely brilliant. Checking the content matches style guides, proofreading the content, absolutely brilliant too. But content creation, definitely not. I really think everybody goes to ChatGPT and all other conversational AI tools and believe that the main thing it can do is content creation, when actually it's the worst thing. It's its weakest point, I believe, having used it multiple times a day for the last sort of 8 months.
Yeah, totally see that point. So I wonder, isn't it also a matter of having like enough preparation? I think with a lot of content creation, that people come to this tool and wanted to write something, and they don't really know what they wanted to write. They just know something like, I have to write a blog post. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but just let me fill this page with something. And we cannot expect the tool to solve knowing what we want for us if we don't know this. So
not a mind reader, it really isn't. So imagine if you were briefing a copywriter, and they're brand new and they've never heard of your business before. They don't know what you do. They don't know who you do it for. And you're giving them that brief, and the brief just says, write me a blog post on 800 words on this topic. That result is going to be generic. So of course it's exactly the same for AI. You need to give it a lot of detail. So I think the reason new conversational AI products are coming out with more and more tokens, more and more ability to write long prompts, is because the longer and more complex and detailed and specific prompts are, by far it's unbelievable what you can achieve when you put that in. But exactly that, it's not a one-click solution. A lot of people believe AI is, great, I'll go onto ChatGPT, I'll have a post just like that. And you won't. You do have to put a lot of effort in, and you need to have the skill to understand how that's structured and then recognize it on the other side as well to see whether it's achieved.
That's sort of like a big upfront investment that you have to make in terms of time and effort that you invest to get something that works, and then probably further down the road you save a lot of time because you have something that is really primed to what you need.
Absolutely. So I'm willing now, and now I fully understand it, that I know, I've just written a few prompts. It took me a couple of days to write, but I know that that's going to save me weeks in the next few months. It really will. And then sharing it with people, that's going to save them time, therefore building me value and credibility. It's well worth those couple of days of pure focus if you can. Of course, who's got the time, especially when you're a business owner or senior leader somewhere. It's hard to find that time, but it is worth it. It's a long-term thing that you've got to think ahead.
Yeah. Cool. Let's talk about the problem that we want to capture today, how to develop an authentic sounding voice. How do you prompt for that? What is the process here?
It's all about, first of all, picking the media or the format that you want to speak about. So with ChatGPT, specificity is of course very important. So it's very important to be specific. So first of all, pick your format. So the first one I tried was LinkedIn posts because I write a lot of LinkedIn posts. I'm not under any illusions that he can suddenly start writing my posts for me, but if he can give me a few ideas and structures, that is really useful. So I want it to understand who I am and what I do. So you need to train it with your own data. So I believe the current copywriting tools like Jasper, Copywrite, WordTune, all of those sort of Writer and all of those ones, they're far too limited when it comes to setting tone of voice, brand voice, whatever they call it. ChatGPT isn't, or ChatGPT 4 isn't, because you can put in really long prompts. But I've developed a prompt that is really useful for, and it could be for LinkedIn posts, it could be for emails, it can be for blogs, but you just need to make sure that you use one prompt per format. And you just give it examples. I reckon a minimum of 10. So I within this prompt that I'll go through in a second, you put the prompt in, then it says, you fill in a couple of interchangeable sections, and then here's 10 examples of my prompt. Analyze this and create a tone of voice guide for ChatGPT. So you're creating this thing that you can then save and then paste straight back in when you've got it, or when you've got custom. Have you got custom instructions yet, Simon?
What do you mean?
So there's a new feature on ChatGPT that everybody outside the UK and EU have got, called custom instructions. And that's, you can paste your own brand style guide into custom instructions. So we're due to get it in the UK. OpenAI announced this morning. So sometime this week or next.
Breaking news.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So potentially this is why I thought it's even better, because at the moment, my prompt gives you a tone of voice guide that you can paste into the beginning of each prompt. But when custom instructions are here, paste it in there and it will just automatically already know and already write in that tone of voice, which I think...
So you kind of can save it on ChatGPT, and then you can come back to it in the future, and you don't have to every time brief it in you of okay, this is the...
It already knows. So you'll apply it to every single chat, every single prompt. So I think that there is potentially problematic if you can only choose one. I haven't got it yet, so I haven't had to play with it, but I'd like to be able to choose sort of voice A, voice B, voice C. I might be writing as my clients. I don't want to create something in my voice for a client by accident, sort of thing. So I'm keen to have a look, but yeah.
That sounds exciting. I have to check it out. Haven't heard about that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, my American friends are really, they've been playing around with it. They've said it's just as good as you hope it is. So I'm so desperate to get my hands on it.
Cool. All right, then shall we get started? Do you want to show something?
So I don't know, can I share my screen on?
Yes, you can.
Wonderful.
And let's remember to read out loud what we see for those that don't watch the video but only listen to the podcast.
So here we go. So this is my prompt. Can you see that, Simon? Is it just loaded?
Yeah, now I see a prompt. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is part of a ChatGPT playbook that I'm going to be releasing on my LinkedIn soon, and I'm so proud of it. I can't believe. We've been running tests and we've got the results now. I run several AI courses, and we've been playing around with this, tweaking this, and we've got it perfect. And yeah, really happy with this. This is the prompt for tone of voice. This is a LinkedIn specific prompt. So I'm very much about LinkedIn ghostwriting, so this will be very up your street. So act as a LinkedIn ghostwriter, so giving it a character, always give it a character, and content marketing specialist with extensive experience in and then you replace your industry. So you put in and then give it location as well. So for me, that would be marketing industry in the UK. You're known for producing excellent tone of voice guides, so a little bit of context, particularly those for use with ChatGPT. I'm A, and then you insert your job title at A, and then you insert your company type. Doesn't matter about your company name, it's not relevant. Yeah. So you've got already 4 things that you've added in here. So here in this first paragraph, you've assigned a character for them with details. You've assigned a character for you with details as well. So next we go into context. So you've been tasked with building a LinkedIn tone of voice guide for me, built specifically for using with generative AI tools such as ChatGPT. So with this, it's going to structure something that is perfect for you to go in and paste, that ChatGPT is going to understand. So not a tone of voice guide for a human copywriter, it's a tone of voice guide for ChatGPT. So it's going to put it in a way that you understand. It needs to be concise but accurate and contain everything a tool like this would need to know to produce copy in the same tone of voice as me. So again, a lot of context. Sometimes I double down, I'll say something in one way and then I'll say the same thing in another way just to avoid any confusion. I'm going to provide you with 10 examples of successful posts by pasting them below. You're going to A, read and absorb each of the post examples. B, pay particular attention to the tone of voice, structure and style of each post. C, find patterns within them to determine the above. And D, create a well-structured, accurate and useful tone of voice guide. This tone of voice guide will then be pasted into ChatGPT prompts to help me draft posts much more quickly. The guide should be produced in Markdown. I like ChatGPT using Markdown, it just looks pretty. It gives you the bold and the formatting, and it's just nice to copy paste. If there is anything else you need to know from me to complete this job to the best of your ability, ask now. So here we're kind of using a little bit of what's called model guided prompting. So it's just saying, if there's something that you think you're missing as you try to complete this task, make sure that you ask me. If not, please let me know you understand my instructions and tell me you're ready for my post examples. And that's when it'll say, right, I understand. So if there's any problems with any of these fields you've put in, then it'll say, and it doesn't understand. But if it understands, it goes, great, I'm ready for your 10 post examples.
I love this. I love these clarifying questions. That was a game changer for me when I first saw that. Just ask it to ask you. If it doesn't get something, then it'll do this. Like, oh, it's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great, isn't it? It just fills those gaps in, and it reduces hallucinations, I think, as well. So then what you do is you've got 10, insert 10 post examples. So for me, that's easy because I post every day and I've got a lot of posts I can draw from. For other people, it might be a bit more difficult. So if you're not on LinkedIn all the time, this can be an email, so act as an email copywriter, and you can paste in a load of emails yourself, make this about emails. So you're just going to need to tweak a little bit, like email examples, tone of voice, structure, pretty much works for any type of format. Blogs, if you've written them, articles, you do need as much as you possibly can. If you could paste 100 posts, that would be absolutely amazing, but we've got to be a bit realistic. I found we got better. I tried with 5 initially. It was okay. 10 was much better. And I feel like that's manageable if you're creating a lot. And what it does, it creates some tone of voice guide. So I can show you. I think I might need to stop my screen share. And if I stop that for a second, and then I'll share another screen, which will show you what happens. Let me get the right one open. I think that is, yes. Okay. So here we have the prompt. So I have filled in my section. So there we go, marketing industry. In the UK, I'm a director at a demand and lead generation agency here. So I've filled in those sections here. I've gone all the way down.
So we're seeing the same prompt as before, just filled in for your specific case. Yeah.
That's it. So I can show you the results. Yeah. So here we have post 1. I've just pasted it. I haven't done any of the images. Of course, you can't. Post 2 and so on. So it's quite a long pasting, but it's a really good example of my type of tone of voice.
So you've taken 10 of your posts and now shown them as an example.
Yeah, she just so what I did first, I just copy pasted them all into a Word document. I just found that a little bit easier, and that's really used anyway to have a Word document for all of these AI tools with examples of your copy. Otherwise, you end up doing it over and over again. As I say, the likes of Jasper and Copy.ai, and of course, I'm always trying them to see how they evolve. I think they're rubbish at the moment, but I think eventually they'll end up being able to train them on this, so I'll have the stuff ready then when they do. So this is how it looks in Markdown. For those that are listening on audio, it's just got really nice bold, and it looks like it's got H1s and H2s. So we have the tone of voice guide, and it got the results are very accurate. So my tone of voice on LinkedIn, relatable and casual, something I very much go for. Authentic and transparent, informed and value driven, engaging and encouraging interaction, and enthusiastic and passionate. And I think they are exactly what I've been going for. I think that is an accurate representation of me. And it gives a bit more detail for each of those. Then it goes into structural elements. So here we have the things it notices that I do a lot within my text. So bear in mind, this is text only. I use a lot of carousels, so it can't analyze those at this moment. Code interpreter will be able to, but let's not get onto that in this another one.
We should talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a whole other session, isn't it? But structural elements. So clear call outs. I often start with an engaging question or statement. I very much do. Use of emojis. I do sprinkle emojis throughout. I hate emojis, but I realise they do make readability a little bit better. Utilise bullet points or numbered lists. I always end with a strong call to action. I believe that really works. And then hashtags and mentions. I use strategic use of and mentions. Then it has a separate section as well. So these are all the things it deems that ChatGPT would need to know to create posts for me. Stylistic flair, bold statements and reveals. So it gave an example. I made 346,975 last month. Here's how, and then actually I didn't. So definitely far from it. So that's one of these bold statements and claims that I use to grab attention, and then just be very honest about the fact that my business does not make that. And actually there's a lot of people claiming that they do, they don't. Personal anecdotes, I use those a lot. Community involvement, so I promote others, I offer free resources and highlight my charitable efforts. I do those. Occasional humour, and it's data driven as well. So I back up any statements I make with data and stats as much as I can. Then it's giving a few prompting tips for ChatGPT. Start with a hook, follow with personal experience, offer actionable insights, conclude with a strong CTA, and add relevant hashtags. So it's a little bit broader there. And then it's given an example template, a bit of code there for AI post creation. So it's kind of gone, right, given all of this, this is the sort of structure I think would make a heathery post. And actually it got it quite right. So it starts off with hook or engaging question about AI. Very much I tend to start with those. I remember when and then you insert a personal anecdote or experience. Here's what I learned. Give 2 lessons. Then I'll recommend a tool or resource, an engaging wrap-up statement or question, and then I'll use those 3 hashtags along the way. So yeah, absolutely brilliant, really, really strong. And then it gives that final thing. This guide should be used as a foundational reference when creating LinkedIn content. Encapsulates the key elements of your tone of voice, style and structure, adjust and refine as needed. So yeah, so that's the result that you get from the prompt. So hopefully that was helpful, but it's part of a much longer piece.
Okay, cool, great.
What the next step? So it's part of a guide, and if I show you quite quickly again, if I just share let me get the right thing open. I'll kind of give you an overview of what the whole thing looks like actually.
Oh, cool.
This is hot off the press. It's not even released yet, Simon. Exclusive information here.
Wow.
So this thing it's my guide on how to use ChatGPT to write LinkedIn posts. So we've got a bit of an introduction here, but tone of voice is the first section. That's my first one there. Then we have generating pain points as well. So talking about your audience and what their pain points are. So you've got tone of voice, you get pain points. Then you have post ideas, and that is a mega prompt. That's really, really long. Then we have a drafting post creation section. As I said, I really don't think ChatGPT can create posts yet. So this is the point where I've got you as far as I possibly can with post ideas. You have hooks, you have content, you have call to action, but it cannot create it for you. You have to take that meat and you have to then take it and create a post from it. So it's a few guidelines around there. And then there's a further prompt at the end to edit the results and make them stronger. So the guide just takes you through a bit of an introduction, the tone of voice prompt that we've just looked at just then. Sorry, that's an introduction to it. So we have an intro and then a prompt for each one. Then we have our pain points one, which is an intro, and then a further prompt as well. So you've got really lovely big list of pains. Then you have the post ideas mega one. So this is literally a big one. It's 2 pages long. There's our intro for that. And then we have part 1 of the prompts, and we have part 2 of the prompt as well. So because this is chain of thought prompting, there's nothing apart from product or service to change in the entire thing. It's just a copy paste thing there, and it creates something pretty wonderful. I don't know if I swap this window, no, it's not going to show. So I'm going to have to stop. So it's only letting me share a window at a time. If I stop and then share again, I can show you the results of the pains, if that'd be useful. You got your tone of voice. Then we've got the next stage, which is the pain prompt. And yeah, this is what you get. So you get an initial idea as to the job titles. You've given job titles in the last one. You get an idea as to pain points and how they link to your solutions, which is obviously, key for creating really strong messages and writing really strong hooks. And I just found this was very, very useful. So my key industries are aerospace and defense, manufacturing and tech, those sort of 3 or 4 industries there. And it's pulled out that sales director, I've given my high ticket lead generation service here, and it's pulled out sales director does have these pain points, and this is how it has relevance to my product. So you can really dig much deeper into this. It goes by job title, gives you the pain points, gives you how it links to your service. So you can see this is days and days of work potentially. And it also gives a few statistics as well to you. So just loads of things that could be done. And then, as I say, this is an awful lot that I'm just whizzing through. So this is the mega prompt to get the tone of voice ideas. So again, I won't read through all of this. I realise for audio people, this isn't going to be the strongest thing, but it's very, very long.
I won't put you to sleep yet. No.
Yeah, I'll have to give a link. I'll give a link to you to put so people can download this for themselves.
That would be great if you could do that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm just building the landing page at the moment. That's how hot off the press it is. But yeah, so you've got this very, very long prompt here, very long. And then what it does, it gives you post ideas through awareness, consideration, conversion, and some ideas around personal posts as well. These posts are quite salesy. It's a lead generation service. It's going to sales directors, so this is relevant. But yeah, it gives you topics which I actually find are pretty brilliant for webinar ideas, because I love webinars. I think they're excellent for the consideration phase. So lots of webinar ideas, and then it gives you hooks. So did you know LinkedIn can unlock £60 million in sales pipelines? Here's how. So it's nicked one of my results, put it into a hook. So it's going to attract the attention of ambitious sales directors thinking, yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of that from LinkedIn. You know, she's got some good hook here. Gives you a couple of ideas around content, so a couple of bullets there. And then call to action, not the greatest thing. I wouldn't probably use, want more insights on LinkedIn's potential, subscribe to our newsletter for weekly tips. I wouldn't probably use those words. And that's the idea that you're not copy pasting. It's giving you ideas. It's saying, actually, this is an awareness post. Therefore, the call to action should be to follow a newsletter. It should be to read more content. It shouldn't be, as so many people do, book a call, book a call, book a call, whether it's awareness or conversion. It's let's go straight to conversion call to actions.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, and I can see the amount of work that you put into this whole thing. And do I get it right that you are basically including the whole ideation in this thing? So it gives you topic ideas, then you look at these and you say, okay, let's do this, this, and this, and then sort of it works with that.
Yeah, it's more, so it's probably better. So what this particular one does, and you can go into more detail with any of them. So you get your tone of voice first, then you get your pain points for your audience, then you get loads of ideas for the posts based around those pain points, based around that audience, and based around your service, and just what you're trying to achieve and who you are. Then it gives you a few, then you're going to create the post and edit the results. So this is very specifically for LinkedIn, but you could go far more into ideation and just saying, right, I'm thinking of using this skill to solve this pain, but I don't know how that's going to look. ChatGPT can come up with the most incredible ideas. So I'm working with it at the moment to create some frameworks and playbooks around integrating AI for small businesses, because I think that's something, when we spoke at the beginning about finding pains first. It's, there are 5 million probably AI tools at the moment. Don't start with the tools, with the pain. Pay first, and then see what's available to solve that pain.
Exactly.
That's do it. So that's one pain points here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've seen it many times that it's a bit like in the blockchain days, it was like a technological solution looking for a problem, and we have to work the other way around. What's the problem that we want to solve, and then look for a tool to do that.
Yeah, it's the quickest way to do it, definitely.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. I can't wait to see that. When are we going to see this? Where? What?
As soon as I can finish this landing page. So yeah, I think I'm going to offer it for free for the first week, and then probably do it as a sort of low ticket offer, I think. But yeah, I've put a lot of time into this, and it really does work. So yeah, really excited to look at it. So I think maybe in a few days I'll be putting it out on my LinkedIn.
I can see that will work. And what I find interesting, I mean, what else I can see, it's like, again, I mean, you have to have an idea of what you want, or you have to, I mean, the same thing in the old world of like manual writing. You have to have sort of a system for what kind of posts you have, or what sort of like formats you have, like topics, but also styles. And if you don't have that, then all writing is a pain, because it's sort of like everything is like just a jellyfish of like mass of ideas that you can't really structure. I think that's probably what I can tell from what I've seen, is that you've sort of built a prompt that helps you also to structure that, and then have clarity of sort of like what goes in what bucket, and then you can write from there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think ChatGPT is intelligent enough, so if you do have all those ideas, to just type all the ideas in and say, categorize this for me. Another thing it does really well is rank these in order of perceived value for this specific audience. So what are they going to be most interested in? I find that really useful. So often I'll have a ton of post ideas or a ton of blog ideas or webinar ideas, and I'll type them in and just say, first of all, what do you think? Is there any that should go out? And then in order value, and help me flesh these ideas out.
That is interesting, because I've also been dabbling with that trying to understand how good it is at sort of predicting how certain topics resonate with a certain audience. What did you find? How good is it at sort of really making good call on that?
Oh, excellent. Absolutely brilliant. I haven't had any problems with it at all. In that regard, it always gives me really, really good ideas. Sometimes it tends to get a little repetitive. So when you're asking it for lead magnet ideas, it tends to focus on maybe one format and just say, right, this ebook, that ebook. And you think, oh, what about mini courses or free webinars or, even there's so many different types of lead magnet. I feel like it could broaden out, but then all you need to say is give me different formats. You're focused on one format, give me some different ones, and it will respond really well. It's just I think a lot of people miss that iterative bit of prompting. So they think I put a prompt in, I get a solution out, and that's it. It's not carry on, give it constructive criticism in the same way you would a person that you're training.
Yeah, and in the end, sort of like, the high level strategic thinking still stays with us. If we don't have the big picture strategy, I think then it's still, the tool doesn't really help. It's can automate a lot of things, but as you just said with the, should I do a PDF or a webinar? That is a strategic decision that we have to make. Are we only running with PDFs, free downloads, or do we have a mix of different freebies? That is probably something that ChatGPT can't decide for us.
No, but it can give you some really, it can say ask me what you need to know, how much resource have you got, what's your budget, how much does it cost you roughly to do one of these, and you can really, I think it can start to work it out, because I think a lot of people get their content ideas from thin air, so that there's not a lot of data going on generally for people. So I think ChatGPT does help people make more data-backed decisions. Unless you're a professional at content strategy, the amount of massive companies I've worked with, and you just say, they say, we do 30 blogs a month, and you go, oh, right, okay, why? And they're like, because you do blogs every month, aren't you? And you just think, oh my God, there's no rhyme or reason to why you're actually doing this. It doesn't link to any form of strategy. They don't link into each other. They're just operating in isolation. They've got 10 views each, and you just think that for that spend, you could have got something so much more valuable that's generates better results.
Well, I guess these things probably worked like 10 years ago or 15 years ago when there was like less competition. But that's, you're touching on a thing, and that subject takes me to the closing words. That fascinates me with ChatGPT. It's almost like expanding the horizon and see more a reality that I wasn't able to see, because I have to admit that what I know and what I see is very limited. But it's hard to, what was like Donald Rumsfeld saying? That's the known knowns and unknown unknowns and the unknown unknowns. It's hard to know the things that you don't know. And I think ChatGPT is an amazing tool to discover all the things that I didn't even think about that I should be considering. Touching on like, how many posts should I be doing? Oh, how many, what should I be talking about?
Yeah. And I think with some things like that, how many posts should I be doing? That's a more difficult one, isn't it? So, it doesn't know your audience. It doesn't know until it can. And that's the thing. So I think it probably can. I'm looking at ways to visualize your network using Code Interpreter, because I think I'm sitting on 27,000 people. Who are they? Where are they from? Are there big groups of people in the same industry? I would love to see a visual of that. So that's my next project. So this one's coming out, and then my next one is visualization.
Excellent. So exciting to speak with you. So now that you got us all hot with these, what is it? Is it the PDF, a product, a webinar? What can we expect here?
Oh yeah, for this is just going to be a downloadable PDF. It's going to be free. I think I'm going to do a webinar around it, because as you've seen now, there's a lot to talk through. So I think what I'll probably do, and again, it's still in that phase of me trying to work out what it is. I'm getting it onto a landing page first. So this is completely brand new. But I think there's going to be a series of webinars around it, and then I'll talk people through how to use it. But this is the next thing for me.
That's it. Okay, so everybody's interested in speaking with you or following you on LinkedIn can find you on LinkedIn, obviously, with your name Heather Murray, and the name of your agency, and where can we find that agency if we want to work with you as your company?
Yeah, so BSing Digital, it's bsing-digital.com. Although at the moment we're waiting for our new website, so I wouldn't actually, don't go to the just go to LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. Need to do at the moment, because our website has not been updated and it doesn't make sense at the moment. Tomorrow we're due our new one, so hopefully by the time this falls out, then it'll be up.
That's okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Heather. It was a pleasure having you, and I feel highly inspired, and I can't wait to get my hands on this PDF and be part of your webinar.
Lovely. Thank you very much for having me, Simon. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you.